Alright, class, welcome back to Our Team Academia, Episode 3. When we last left off, our boys Darren, Atlas, and Terry had just completed the entrance exam for UA High School. After an interesting and rather creepy run-in with a mentally unstable villain, the three were each questioned by Detective Holliday before being released to go back to their homes. You're all about to part ways as you exit the campus when you hear what sounds like a derby car peeling out as Macy, Miss Turbo Teen herself, skids to a stop in front of the outer gate. Her brown pixie-cut hair is blown back and she removes her safety goggles and earbuds. She looks down at Terry from her wheel-elevated viewpoint and says, "Hey T, everyone's really interested in hearing about your team's villain run-in. We're all going out to karaoke tonight and to celebrate if you guys would want to join us."
Sure, sounds cool to me.
What about you two?
Really wins at the sound of karaoke.
What was that?
Alice very excitedly nods his head.
I visibly wince whenever she mentions karaoke.
So she's like, "Cool, all right, let's go." And at first she starts to speed away on her wheels, but then the second you get outside of the campus, she stops and starts walking like a normal person because you're not allowed to do that in public. You know, you're not allowed to use your quirk outside of the school grounds, especially not if you're not even really a student yet.
That's unfortunate. Gotta make walking really boring.
Right. And she takes you to this building. It's not big. It's not like one of the large karaoke places you see in anime where there's like 18 stories and every single room is filled with drunk businessmen. It's just a 2-story building with a lobby on the ground and an upper floor. And when you walk in, you see a fair amount of your fellow classmates, your fellow inductees into the UA school, standing there waiting. Noticeably, it really looks like the only person who is missing is Jiff. Everybody else is there, including his teammates Lauren and Peter. You all go up to the room, and it's fairly small. You'd like it to be a little bigger, but it looks like all the rooms are pretty much the same size, so you work with what you're given. Truck passed by. And everybody makes themselves comfortable in the room, taking chairs, taking up some of the standing room, and starting to go through the book of songs. Everybody seems
Danger Town.
Everybody seems to be having a pretty fun time. The only person who it looks like is not kind of enjoying the festivities with everybody is Lauren, who is somehow, she has taken a section of one of the couches for herself and is snoring softly, somehow able to ignore the world around her.
Impressive.
Wow.
Quite.
And so while you're doing this, your classmates, some of them are picking songs and singing. A fair amount of them do not sound like professional singers. But you do occasionally get somebody who goes up there and seems to have a fairly competent control of their vocal range. Do any of your characters go take the mic at any point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want a song?
Yeah.
Yeah, give it to me. What?
All
All right,
right.
Terry. So, after the first couple people do it to break the ice, Macy hands the microphone to you and says, "All right, let's see what you can do. What song do you go and put up for you to sing?"
Now, do you want me as Trey to sing it? I assume not.
I mean, if you want to give us a line out of the chorus, you can, but you don't gotta sing the whole thing.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and not even do that. So I'm
Gotcha.
gonna be singing Katrina and the Waves, Walking on Sunshine.
Nice. Cool. So you're singing that song and everybody's kind of having a fun time with it. And while Terry is singing that song, Darren,
That's me.
that is you. Uh, Skip, the man with the gray metal skin, he kind of sidles up next to you and he says, So with that villain the other day, what was his whole shtick? What did you have to deal with?
He like split his personality, I guess, into a bunch of dolls, and they were really annoying. And at one point, blew up like a water tank. And I just look at him. One of them kept talking about how he was going to strangle us. It was a little too small, and I kind of point a thumb towards Atlas. It really wasn't a problem. I just thought it was part of the test.
So, wait, so everybody's been building this up to seem like you fought some big bad villain, but you're telling me you just raided Andy's toy chest.
Yeah, more or less. That's basically what it was. There was just a bunch of dolls. The biggest thing was that it made a water tank explode, which really hurt, and that's probably the worst thing it did. I just shrug.
Well,
At least that I know of.
I guess you still fought a villain anyway.
Yeah, I can see why people are making it a big deal, but I just like shrug slightly.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Whenever they're done with that, do you mind if like it's the end of a different song up on stage?
Sure.
All right. Then the second song will be "Take on Me" by Aha.
All right, so you're walking on sunshine goes away and everybody starts shouting encore. Your performance there's probably some kind of role I can make you do for this.
Yeah, probably. I don't know what it'd be though. Is it rapport?
Yeah, I think rapport would be the closest
man.
one.
All right, so this is for "Walking on Sunshine" then, right?
Yeah.
All right. And I got a 3.
Nice. So a 3 is it's like a great. Yeah, so you get a 3. You're up there, you're belting it out, you're walking on sunshine, and everybody enjoys it, everybody's clapping, and they insist that you sing another song. They insist that you stay up there. So what was your second choice?
"Take on Me" by Aha.
Nice. So go ahead and roll your rapport again, and it's going to be a little harder this time because they get really high in that song. So you're either going to have to hit that note or you're going to have to try an inversion.
2. Oh no.
All right, yeah. So as you're singing this song, it gets to the "I'll be gone in a day or," and you're not sure what to do. You kind of panic and switch between a couple of choices before you settle on "a day or two" and do an inversion.
Yeah.
So, Darren, back to you. You're there. You're there. Skip is talking to you, and he says, "So, truck passed by. So, I mean, whether it was a serious fight or not, you do have experience fighting villains now.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
I just kind of want to warn you. Not that he's really going to be any kind of a threat, and I don't know how he ended up to actually get into the hero course or anything, but I think Jiff really has your number.
Oh boy. And I roll my eyes.
We tried to invite him out, but he just was not interested at all. He kind of seemed like I mean, he seemed into it at first, but as soon as we mentioned that we were gonna invite you guys once you were out from your little talking to or whatever, he just kind of soured up and turned away like a rancid peanut.
Yeah, I'm not really shocked by that. I just like put my hands in the air a little bit, like I'm not surprised.
Well, I'll watch out for you and make sure he doesn't. What is that thing he likes to say? I'll make sure you don't get nutted.
Yeah. I give Skip a thumbs up. Thanks, man.
And as that happens, your song winds down, Terry. You still get applause, but people are ready for a new singer. Who wants to take up the next watch?
Atlas puts his giant head into the air.
Oh man. My God.
All right, this is the one I'm most interested in. Atlas, what song do you pick?
Alright. So, as Atlas was scrolling through, at first he wanted to sing Earth, Wind, and Fire's September, but then winces at the memory of it. And instead, he has decided on Disco Queen.
It's a good one.
All right, now Terry didn't have to give me an example. I feel like you need to give me an example of.
Do I?
I feel.
Well, yeah, because my voice for Terry is just my real voice. Your voice for Atlas is a deep, gravelly.
You
and
have.
I don't know how he's gonna get to Disco Queen that easy.
You have this deep monotone voice for Atlas, and it is shown that he is not a man of many words. So I need to know, at least for a little bit of the chorus or whatever you want to do, how it sounds when Atlas sings Disco Queen.
You can dance.
I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just a straight up Disco Queen.
Does he say every word, or is it just like you can dance? You like it's slower?
It's a word for word rendition. This is probably the most you will ever hear Atlas string words together so flawlessly.
Oh my God.
But it is absolutely just the you can you could
Having the time of your life.
Is it gonna?
Yeah.
Is it gonna roll for that?
Yeah, roll
I
rapport.
absolutely have to.
Let's do it.
All right.
Ooh, it's not gonna be good.
Nope, that is a 0.
Weird.
All right, so you stand there in the center of the room in front of the television, singing, just belting out all the words to Disco Queen like you've sung this in your room 100 times. And everybody around, they're just kind of looking at their phones. They're talking to each other. People are talking through your song like it ain't nothing. And yeah, your song gets over, and
I wanna clap. I wanna be like, woo!
Yeah, I'm just gonna start clapping.
your song gets over, and a fair amount of people are like, they're giving you like the yeah, good, woo, all right, who's next?
Oh, I'll step up there. Now I need to decide my song.
All right, so
I mean, Darren doesn't have to sing if he doesn't want to.
Nah, man. I'll do it.
Okay.
Darren, so you're there, and Skip is still kind of talking to you, and after Atlas finishes, they say, who's next? Who's gonna be the next up on UA's next top vocal person? And the guy who was saying that, which I am now going to determine is Ken, is like that. I'm sorry, and he goes to sulk in the middle of the room, in the back corner of the room.
All right.
Pat him on the back.
So I'm going to slowly step up there, and I want to ask a question, though, to you, Chris.
Yes.
Can I use my stunt demagogue for this? Demagogue.
How does demagogue work?
+2 to rapport when you're delivering an inspiring speech in front of a crowd.
That
Yes.
was a song.
You absolutely can. What is a song but a rhythmic and melodic speech?
You're gonna have
And
to
I wanna-
rap at us.
The song I want to sing is "Dream On" by Aerosmith.
Okay, acceptable.
So
Alright.
this is +2, so I'll add the modifier to it, and
Woo.
Nice, a 4. So, Dream On's the one that's like, dream on, dream on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get up there, and it gets time for it, and everybody, like, everybody's waiting on bated breath. You've done so good up to this point, and you just floor them when you're like, dream on, dream on, dream on, dream into the crypta. And everybody is, you're not sure. You were paying too much attention to the lyrics, kind of fidgeting, making sure that you don't mess up. But
Yep.
you're pretty sure Reba, the redheaded girl with the mesh hands, you're pretty sure you see a tear trickle down her face as you hit the highest of notes.
sick.
And after that is done, there's this moment of pause between everybody where they're not sure if they want to, like, nobody wants to be the person that follows up that performance.
If no one's gonna go, I'll go back up.
I'd like to point out at the very end, if it's just a moment of silence, Atlas time is just thunder clapping, just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, so there's stunned silence. There's applause that is helmed by Atlas's doosh, 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 doosh. And you actually hear from the other room somebody pounds the wall, and it's very soundproof, but somebody comes to your door and knocks on it and says, "Hey, the singing is fine, but whoever's got a hammer in here needs to knock it off."
Atlas just kind of slowly puts his hands down to his side, shoulders a little hunched, like caught in the action.
So after a moment, Terry, you're about to go back up there and take the microphone again, but everybody kind of you hear Claudia, the girl who's made almost entirely of clouds. She steps forward and she says, "So do you guys just want to take a break, maybe order some drinks and some food up here and kind of take a minute to relax?"
I mean, I thought that's what we were doing. There's just singing going on in the interim.
Right, but I feel like I speak for everybody when I say that we need a moment to kind of collect ourselves.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And Darren, as you're agreeing, as you're like, yeah, and you're walking back to your seat, there are a few people who are just staring at you as you go by, and as soon as you sit down, all of their attention, like they look in other directions so that they're not looking right at you. And
Step
around
over to Atlas.
Just two thumbs up.
Don't
And-
ask questions.
around this time, everybody's starting to get some drinks. Everybody's getting some food. Do you guys get any drinks and food?
Yeah, I'll get
Oh,
some.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you order up some sodas, some sweet teas, some waters, and some time is passing by, and eventually it gets to the point. Ken already, or not Ken, Skip kind of already warmed you up for this, Darren. But it gets to the point where they throw the microphone at Terry between you guys, and everybody's kind of looking at you and they say, so, what happened with the villain?
Is like everyone looking?
Pretty much everybody.
I just
Well,
mentioned to Terry.
we went down there, and he had a bunch of dolls or whatever, and we destroyed all of them. It was just some, like, hairy dude who was asleep. It wasn't anything.
There are very clearly a couple of disappointed looks, but you also see from Lauren and Peter. Lauren, you don't see anything. Lauren's sleeping. Lauren is still cozied up. But from Peter, you see him kind of sigh in relief as you say that it wasn't anything. And he kind of pats Lauren on the shoulder, and it doesn't work. She stays asleep, and he shakes her, and it doesn't work. And so he finally just leans in and half yells in her ear, "Lauren!" And she starts awake, and she's like, "Huh? What? Huh? What? What?" And he says, and it's loud enough for pretty much the whole room to hear, "Since it wasn't anything, maybe Jiff can finally get the stick out of his butt and calm down." And yeah, everybody's giving it a good chuckle, and Lauren just kind of nods her head and goes back to sleep. And after some time, Macy comes up to you, Terry. You've all kind of dispersed and are just talking in little groups amongst the place, and she says, "Well, I'm glad to hear that it wasn't any big deal. Though, I have to say, it makes your victory slightly less impressive."
Well, we did come in first, so it's still all right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
I'll laugh at that. She's all annoyed.
I mean, I feel like we had a pretty good chance of coming in first too. We just took a gamble and lost.
No, yeah, that's fair. I'm not saying we're the best. I'm just saying we came in first, so that's still a pretty good victory in my book.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you're the best either. And she explains to you how her team had taken a gamble on the upper right part of the battle zone, and they were hoping that as they went, their compass would change directions, but it just didn't. And once they finally got to, they didn't get to the furthest corner, but after they got within like half a mile's walk of the barrier to the battle zone, they realized that there was absolutely no chance that their compass was going to change. And so their strategy, their way of trying to get back to the battle zone, to get back into the game, was that they had set it up to where Reba, who she explains has the power to redirect the velocity of anything that comes into contact with her, her hands, moreover. And as you are being told this story and you look over at Reba, you realize that the mesh on her hands is very similar to trampoline mesh.
Okay.
And she explains that what their plan was that she was going to have... She grabbed Ken, who she explains has the power to store kinetic energy into his arms and release them. She was going to have him... Essentially, they were going to jump... She was going to hold Ken, who was going to punch Reba in her mesh hands with all of the kinetic energy it's stored up, and they were all going to grab onto each other at that moment and soar across the battlefield and just pray that the snow is enough to break their fall as they try to make it back to the center, back to where the flag is, so they could hopefully take one of the orbs from one of the other teams.
Well, it sounds like a solid plan to me. You took a gamble and it didn't pay off. And I mean, you're fast enough. You could have got to any of those places before me and my team if you didn't.
Yeah, I know. It just sucked that it didn't work out quite how we thought it was going to.
Oh well, everyone ended up passing anyway, so no harm, no foul.
Am I the only one who hates that GIF guy?
No.
No.
In fact, everybody around you at that moment also says no. Everybody who can kind of hear, half hear what's being said. And she says, okay, good, because I didn't want to be, like, petty or anything.
Oh, I'm definitely really petty about it, but I don't like him.
Around the same time, you can see that Peter and Skip are talking, and Atlas, you can overhear them as they're talking, and Skip says, hey, Peter. And Peter's like, oh, hey, Skip, what's up? And Skip says, I'm, sorry about the whole, punching you in the face with, red hot fists and everything. Like, you have to understand, I wouldn't do that if you were just, like, a normal guy, but we were in a competition and everything. And Peter's like, I mean, it healed, I guess, so it's fine. I was just kind of trying to kick you with my spring feet, so I'm not totally sure that a punch to the face with a white hot fist was called for, but I get where you're coming from. Then Skip says, yeah, I mean, I look, I'll give you a free shot. Go ahead, come on, take it. And Peter's like, I appreciate it, but I can't make my fist glow 1,000 degrees, and I don't think it would hurt you if I could. And everybody seems to just kind of be, they just seem to kind of be discussing their victories, their failures, their apologies for what they did to other people.
I kind of walk in the middle of Peter and Skip, not in the middle, but like on the side.
Uh-huh.
Just kind of like put a hand on both their shoulders. Fight over.
Skip looks up to you, your intimidating presence, and says, you got it, boss. Fight's over. I get it. It's fine. And Peter's like, yeah, here's to a brighter tomorrow. And everybody, go ahead. What's that?
I just said good.
And you have this moment, if you want, to talk to any of your other classmates. If you do not wish to take that, we can kind of get back to the party and then to the end of the party.
I mean, I don't have anyone in particular that I want to talk to, so
Right.
I'm fine with just mingling around and assuming that I'm just like, hey, what's up? And, you know, oh, how was your blah, blah, blah to everyone.
Right.
Yeah, basically. Same
Just,
here.
just
Alex is pretty
general.
much just a giant fly on the wall.
Perks of being a wall beetle.
Yeah.
So, after about 15 to 20 minutes of everybody talking, discussing with each other, talking about the fight, they get back to the karaoke, and a couple more people go up. Roxy, the girl with rocket legs, goes up there, and she sings Dynamite, TNT, whatever that name of that song is.
Yeah.
The one what goes
Ryan
TNT
Casey.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Kyrie, the girl who can turn into a kite, sings that one song, what goes fly like an eagle. And after,
By R. Kelly, isn't it?
I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
Do, 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 do. Right? That one?
Look, man, you're lucky I know as much as I did. Anyway,
It's in Space Jam.
sure, I haven't watched Space Jam in a while.
I'm just making sure that's the song. Then yeah.
So as the party winds down, slowly people start funneling out. Lauren is the first to leave after she realizes that the people are just going to keep singing. She's like, "All right, I made my appearance, so I'm gonna go home. I'll see you guys when classes start, I guess." And
Bye bye.
and more people start leaving. Dominic and Kyrie and Peter eventually. Ken and Reba and all the people. They all start funneling out, and the last people left are you guys and Macy. And she says, "Hey, I appreciate you guys coming out and kind of having fun and enjoying the party with everybody. I feel like everybody needed some time to chill and actually be friends outside of the fighting environment."
Yeah, there's been a lot of antagonistic kind of behaviors going on, and it's nice that everyone can just sort of settle down for a second.
Yeah, if we're going to be classmates, even if we're not all in the same class, I feel like we need to be on some kind of common ground with each other that's not just "I beat you."
Exactly.
So you guys start to make your way out of the room and down the stairs, or down the hall, down the stairs, and as you get to the landing between floors, okay, as you get to the landing between floors, suddenly you are stopped. There is this feminine figure that bursts through the doors at the bottom of the stairs and sprints up them before just crashing into Atlas, who doesn't even move. And as she does, she stumbles backwards and her hood falls off. And you can see it's this girl with brown hair that goes to about shoulder length, that is kind of pulled behind her. And she is missing an eye, though it is clear that there was an eye there in the recent past, because it is still just a cavity. And she also doesn't have either of her ears, though there's no sign of blood or trauma or anything. And
Whoa. You're in a hurry there. Where are you off to so fast?
and she looks at you and looks behind her and says, I think I'm good.
Okay.
Sorry for bothering you."
No, it's all right.
And she starts to walk past you and start walking up the stairs when you hear what sounds like a hissing noise from downstairs. Though it's not the hissing of an animal, it sounds more like something is dissolving. And you... Good.
I was just going to say, I guess I'm going to go investigate that hissing noise.
I head downstairs.
As you start...
Harry.
As you start tentatively heading downstairs with Macy, the door, as you're getting about halfway down the stairs, the door to the bottom level just melts away into a puddle on the ground, and you can see this green viscous fluid on top of it. And peeking through the door is this woman who is completely bald on top. The clothing she is wearing is very tight and form-fitting and looks like is resisting this green viscous fluid that is emitting from all of her pores, just completely drenching down her body. And she looks up and says, "Oh, you all look nice, so why don't you just tell me where she went? How does that sound? A fair trade? Or perhaps you'll rather end up like this door?"
Is that a threat? Are
I think-
you threatening teenagers?
I think you've seen what I can do. Don't take it as a threat. Take it more of as a promise.
Right. I'm just saying, kind of pathetic. And I mean, sure, I saw her, but she seemed real worried, so I'm not going to tell you anything.
I just quickly look to Macy and Atlas and like, what are we doing? What do we do?
So are these like two sets of stairs with a railway between them, or are these differing sets of stairways?
They're
And,
different. The one that she is on right now are the stairs down, and the ones below that are stairs up to the next level. From
Alright.
You guys had just gotten down to the landing and were starting to descend the next step when this woman peered through the door and started calling towards you.
Okay. I guess before anything else happens, I'm going to, because from where I currently am, it looks like she can't see me because I'm kind of on the far side of the upper stairway. I'm gonna stand into view, or step into view, right next to Macy, and I'm gonna use Armor of Fear.
Okay.
Or I guess I can't use that because it's not a fight attack, but just kind of make an intimidating figure.
All right. I'm. There is is there an intimidate skill?
Provoke, I believe.
I mean, I feel like Provoke's more of, I guess, but I always thought that Provoke was just being a jerk, like antagonizing.
I feel like it can be used in both ways. Those skills in Fate seem to be rather versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll provoke, I suppose.
All right. That is the one.
That is a 1. Now, because the way fate works, a 1 is not necessarily bad.
Yeah, I know. Still.
But she is made of tougher stuff, and she sees right through your little ploy of what's the word I'm looking for? She sees through your little ploy of solidarity, and she starts stepping slowly up the stairs, and you can see as her foot, as her last foot as she steps up, where her feet were in the previous steps just completely dissolve away and leave footprint-sized holes.
In the
Yes.
middle of her walking, I want to try to cut both sides of the rails on the staircase to just try to drop the whole thing.
What do you mean by rails?
I'm imagining a different set of stairs. For some reason, I was like, yeah, it's like an escape. It's like the fire elevator.
Right.
Or the fire staircase, like on the outside of buildings.
No, yeah, this staircase is
Right.
built into the
Yeah,
building.
it's concrete. I was thinking this was just metal. My bad.
No, but she starts stepping forward and she says, "I'm not threatening teenagers because I feel like you'll be. I'm not threatening you teenagers because I feel like you'll be an issue. I'm threatening you so that you'll get out of the way."
I punched the steps immediately in front of me that are leading up, just to see if I can, I don't know, at least either shake her up or break these steps.
I mean, yeah. So you have control over your token, right?
I do not actually.
Okay, let me fix that real quick.
Otherwise, I would have stepped forward earlier.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you guys didn't have control over your
I have
tokens.
control over mine.
Anyway, yeah, go ahead and roll is this athletics or physique for this kind of.
I'd say physique because that's more tied to my, or that's what's tied to my power.
Yeah, I've got my cheat sheets right here, so let me just look at it, just to be sure. Yeah, physique is brute force, so go ahead. Roll your physique.
Yep. That is a 2. Slightly better.
Yeah, it's not difficult. This is more just to see how the show of strength goes, as opposed to just the breaking of the stair. So you punch down, and it cracks right in half, and you make this show where splinters go everywhere, and it looks like you barely put any of your force behind it. And she looks for a moment, and she quirks an eyebrow, and she says, "Oh, isn't that cute? You've got little magic powers. Well, so does everybody else in the world, bub. I'm not very impressed." And she keeps stepping up the stairs.
No,
I'm gonna shoot her.
Just
I'm
strong.
gonna move forward. What are the stairs made
You know
of?
what? No, hold on. I'm not gonna shoot her. I'm just like, all right, hold on a second. What do you want her for?
First of all, Darren, to answer your question, these stairs are made out of wood.
Shucks.
The walls of the building are enforced with stone, but it seems like wood is used as like an aesthetic choice to make the place look more warm and inviting. So Terry, ask again.
After that, I'm just like, what even is going on here? And I'm just like, what do you want her for? What's going on? Just stop for a second. Explain to me what's happening here.
As much as it pains me to waste any more breath, she was spying on us, and we don't take kindly to that. Answer enough?
I don't know who us is, and by the look of her, what I was going to say was going to be rude. By the look on her face, I don't think that she wants any more of what you're giving. So go ahead and turn around and leave. I don't care what's going on between the both of you, but just don't do it in this public setting. Idiot.
Just had to get that last little kick in.
I just turn and look at Terry. Astounded.
She looks at you, and her eyebrows are up a little bit, and she doesn't really have eyebrows, but where her eyebrows would be. And she chuckles, and she says, "Ha ha. Very well. I'm not going to spill the blood of some bystander and get myself in more trouble for nothing, for fun. I'll be on my way then." And she starts to walk away.
I turn around and I'm gonna walk up the stairs and I'm gonna walk back in,
I just turn and look at Macy.
walk into the karaoke place. Doesn't matter if people are following me. Doesn't matter if they're staying there. I'm just gonna go try to find that lady.
All right.
I turn and just look at Macy and Atlas.
I mean, I'm just facing down this stairway, just making sure nothing's coming back.
What does Macy do? What did she do the whole time? Was she just all like,
Pretty much the whole time, Macy, she had her wheels up and ready, and she looked like she was bracing herself for if this person started to charge or anything at a moment's notice, she might be able to either get one of you out of the way or try to, like, tackle into this person. She looked like she was getting herself ready for a fight, but that she wasn't going to say anything.
okay.
And when that lady walks away, Macy says, "Now, she didn't sound all too convincing. I feel like that was too easy."
Yeah, a little bit. We should
And I'm
try
going
to
to.
find that other lady.
I was going to
already
say I'm
up
going
the
to start
stairs.
defending.
Hold on.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm already up the stairs in the karaoke, asking people around, "Hey, have you seen a girl with a hood over her? What color did you say the hoodie was, or whatever she's wearing?
It was black.
You see a girl with a black hoodie, just like over her head completely. Looks like she's trying to hide. Should be real obvious."
Yeah, there are only a couple people who are out of their rooms, but as you, like, knock and peer in and ask people, it seems like most of the people did not notice But one person says, you get to one person who's this older businessman who looks like he had just come down from a night of drinking and partying with his coworkers, and he says, "Oh, I think somebody just went into the girl's bathroom."
Awesome.
That's about as
Like
much as I
close.
can tell you.
And I close the door, and I guess I just walk into the girls' bathroom.
Oh my god.
All right, cool. So Terry or Darren Atlas, that's your name.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna start descending down these stairs. Not walk into the room, but at least like stop at the kind of side of the door and maybe lean around the corner to peek in.
Cool. So you look and you peer through this door, and it is just a. I mean, there's not even really a door there anymore. But you
Yeah.
tentatively step over the still smoking puddles of acid and door, and it's just the lobby. It looks like where the carpet is in the lobby, there are several footprints burned in, a set walking in and a set walking out. And the man behind the desk is just on the ground with his hands over his head, just shaking.
I feel like I'm probably not the best to comfort him,
I
but
was gonna
you know,
start traveling downstairs with Atlas and look at Macy. We should probably travel in groups just in case someone else, that person pops up and they actually try to hurt us.
Yeah, I agree, dude. I guess I'll go up and join Terry then.
Yeah.
And she starts walking up the stairs and comes alongside Terry as you've gotten this information about where she might be. She accompanies you to go to the girls' restroom.
So I imagine
he's just opening the
she
door.
walks up the stairs as like I'm just marching, and she's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "I'm going to the girls' room."
Yeah, that happens. She's like, where do you know where she is? Where are you
As far
going?
as I know, the best bet that I have is she's in the girls' room.
Oh, well, I guess it's a good thing that I came along then.
I would have went in there without you, but I guess.
Yeah, I know you would have. And she starts going along with you. She's got her wheels out, so she's just kind of slowly spinning them forward. Atlas and Darren, you both now see this man who's on the ground, and around the time that Darren gets down the stairs with you, he starts looking around and realizing that it's over, and he walks over to the desk and he picks up a phone and he starts calling the police.
I'm gonna gently step over what remains of the door and walk in there and walk up to the man, like with a really confused and concerned look on my face, and like wave.
I'm just gonna stay here where
I-
I am.
I wave at the traumatized man. Hello.
It's like a gentle, like I'm not being a threat kind of wave, like wave my
Right.
hand forward, kind of thing. Not like, hi, how you doing?
So as he sees you come forward,
Do I need to roll anything for this?
well, like, what are you trying to do? If you're just waving at him, like,
I'm just trying to
He'll-
make sure he knows I'm not a threat.
right.
I'm not trying to threaten him or anything.
I mean, you're a teenager who just came down from upstairs and are not, like, in a threatening posture or anything. So, as he's on the phone with the police saying, this woman, she was completely bald, I guess, like, 5'2". I didn't get a good look at any of her features. It looked like she could, like, something with acid, like she could emit acid. She told me just to stand aside, so I did. Yeah, okay, thank you. And he gets off the phone and he says, you should go back to your room. You should wait until the police get here.
I nod. Okay. And I just kind of turn and walk out of there. That was. I think that woman with the green acid stuff apparently was a villain. We need to find her. That person she's after is probably gonna get hurt if she finds her.
I nod and then just start stomping my way up the stairs in a hurry.
All right. So as you are stomping your way upstairs, make an athletics check as you get about halfway up the stairs.
Oh no. That is not loading. Oh, there it is. It's a 5. All right.
What?
Is it not showing up for you? For me, it's
I
showing.
don't see it either.
All right, let me reload real quick. Oh boy. What is happening, Roll20? There you go. Thank you. So what it said was a 5, but because of the lack of proof, I'm willing to just go again and take whatever happens.
Yeah, go ahead and roll again. I mean, it was a 5. You're probably... Yeah.
That's a 1.
That's a 1. You did it. I'm proud of you. Right. Well, this wasn't anything terribly bad. As you start tromping up the stairs, one of your feet meet right next to the place where one of her feet burned the hole through, and it just goes right through the stairs, and you now have like half of your leg dangling below where the stairs are.
I guess, put my hand one against the wall, one against the railing, and just kind of hoist myself out.
Yeah, easy enough to do. So Terry and Macy, you guys make your way towards the girls' restroom, tromping down the hall between all of the rooms, and she says, do you want to go in first, or should I?
I just walk in.
So yeah, so you open the door and you walk in, and this is one of those establishments where it is just a one-person bathroom, but it's one of those weird establishments where it's only a one-person bathroom where it's got like, you know, a toilet and a sink, but the door
Right.
doesn't lock. And you walk in, and she is just sitting there on the toilet with the lid of the seat down and her legs brought up and her arms curled around them in a fetal position, just like huddled there on the toilet. And she winces as she hears the door open, but she just keeps her vision pointed down, not looking.
I want to go in and be like, "Hey, it's all right. You saw us earlier. We got to get you out of here."
She looks up at you and says, with her one eye, she looks up at you and says, I messed up. I shouldn't have been where I was, and I'm sorry for dragging you into this.
Hey, it's all right. It doesn't matter what happened there. What matters now is that we're gonna make sure you're safe. All right?
Okay, all right. And she gets off the toilet and she that's funny. She gets off the toilet and she starts to walk out of the room and stand there in the hallway with you and Macy as you're going to be exiting. And around this time, from the wall, just at the end of the hall, there's another hissing noise, and you can see that the acid lady has burned a hole through the wall and is now stepping through it. And it looks like she had a ladder that she had propped up to get to this point, and she just steps off the ladder. It looked like she wasn't secreting any acid as she was going up the ladder for fear of making it fall. But now that she has burned a hole through the wall, the acid starts to drip down again. She looks at you, Terry, and she says, "And I was so hoping you would have just walked away."
I turn to Macy and I tell her, "This is really dumb what I'm about to do, but you make sure that girl gets out of here."
She nods at you with a hardened look on her face.
I'm gonna charge at the acid woman. Oh, she's on this side. Oh, never mind then. I thought she was at the end of the hall before the staircase.
Nah, she's over here.
All right. Then I
She-
don't need to do. Then I don't need to try to tackle her out of the hole that she just made in order for Macy to get out of here. That's the thing that was gonna happen. It was gonna be
Right.
cool.
In that case, she's over here.
If you want her to be,
Yep.
it makes it harder for me to do stuff. All right.
Yep. So at the end of the hall, there before the staircase, she has burned a hole through and is stepping through.
All right. Then I say the same thing. All right. What I'm gonna do is the dumbest thing ever, but you make sure that girl gets out of here.
And Macy looks at you and says, I'll do my best. If there's one thing I'm good at, it's leaving.
I'm assuming me and Atlas see Acid Lady as well.
Yeah, you have just now crested to the top of the stairs when you see her there.
Is there any stone within, like nearby that I can touch? Stone or dirt of a sort, like a potted plant, for example.
Yeah, there's a potted plant.
Not knowing they're there, obviously, I just start running at the woman.
I'm gonna reach over and put my hands on the potted plant and kind of wince, and I really hope this isn't too much of a problem, and just pull up a smaller rod of dirt. I'd probably say
Baton.
glow stick size.
Okay.
Baton. And I just turn. I want to immediately chuck it towards the Acid Lady. I want to make sure though that it wasn't like super thickened, so that it would like puff into dust when it hits her instead of.
Right.
But
you make a loose one.
Yeah.
Harder on the edges, but looser on the inside.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Macy's coming down the hall with me.
Yeah. So, how the scene is happening is Terry starts just sprinting down the hall with his athletic speed, as Macy is keeping speed behind him with this girl in her arms, and she looks like she's just waiting for Terry to finish tackling this woman before she goes full speed and starts speed racering her way down out of the building. And at this very same time, as Darren is shuffling out into the hall with Atlas behind him, Darren has pulled up this glow stick sized dust bomb and chucks it, and
Low physique, I take it.
yeah, you roll your it's
-1.
it's your athletics actually.
Oh.
You're making a ranged attack, it's your
Okay.
athletics. And Terry, you make
2.
a
Fight.
yeah.
I rolled a 2 in athletics. Thank goodness.
I also rolled a 2.
Alright. So I'm gonna go ahead and combine those together because you're both doing the same thing at the same time without knowing that each other are doing it, so I just think it works. So she's going to roll her thing. She's going to roll her defense, which I'm just going to pull into fight just for fun. And she gets a 3, which is not sufficient. So you, at the very same time, this puff of dust gets into her eyes as she was raising her hands up to just excrete acid everywhere. And that moment is all it takes, almost like the same thing you did with Jif. That moment is all it takes to distract her as Terry barrels into her, knocking the both of them out of this hole, careening about 20 feet down onto the ground. You both take... she takes 2 harm, you take 1 harm from landing on top of her.
Okay.
And there's some outside for you. You both land hard on this, in this alley between this building and the next. Darren and Atlas, you see this happen as Terry, you didn't even know he was coming, but suddenly he slams into her and flies out the wall. And at that same moment, Macy comes speeding by with this girl in her arms, the same one you saw earlier, and she says, Oh, hey, Atlas, get out of the way. I'm leaving.
Wait, no, the police are on their way.
Yeah, good for them.
Okay.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm not even listening. And the moment I saw him go out the window, I in the hall, go to the hole, and I'm just following down, use
Man,
my wings or whatever to
that's
lighten
such a
the.
Trey reaction. Good for them.
So, so you go and or Atlas, you are now looking down on this scene as both Terry and this woman are still reeling from the fall. Darren, you're trying to talk Macy down, but she just completely blows you off and blows through the door. Skid, you can hear the skid sounds as she is flying down the hallway before she gets to the lobby and is speeding down. Terry, Atlas, you both now can kind of see just from outside of just from the alley looking out onto the road as Macy has this girl and there's this puff of smoke as her tires are squealing on the ground as she just flies down down the road out of sight. And the acid woman, after hearing this, after seeing this, and righting herself mentally from the fall, she slams a fist down on the ground and says, "No!"
I mean, I am jumping down onto her.
I'm gonna run over here so I can look out and see what's going on.
And as this happens, Terry, what do you do as she is now like visibly getting angry beneath you? You can almost feel your hands start to get wet from the acid that she starts to secrete, which you know if you hold on any longer is going
Yeah.
to start burning.
I just. That's all I needed to do. Boom! Out of here.
So you start sprinting away.
Right.
Are you heading
Oh.
out towards the road where Macy was, or are you going to continue down the turns of the alley?
I'll go down the turns of the alley. I don't know if she's mad enough to come after me specifically, so I think I'll just go toward the street.
Gotcha. So you head out, you start sprinting towards the road, and around this same time, you hear, just as you are cresting past the alley's barriers, you hear what sounds like police sirens on their way to your location. And Atlas and Terry, or no, not Atlas, Atlas and Darren, you look down and you see this acid woman who has just stood up after Terry got off and started running away. And she is fuming. It looks like the acid is coming from her skin even in greater waves. And she's leaving this large crater in the ground around her.
Well, what I had said earlier was that I'd like to kind of jump down at her, kind of falling, punching at the same time.
Right,
You know,
so,
like a jumping from the hole, falling down towards her, and before I land, just right in her head.
I get that. Yeah, so go ahead and make a fight roll as you are jumping down. To hit her, you're gonna take 1 harm from the fall.
All right, that is a 2.
All right. Ooh, she rolls oh my gosh, she rolled 4 minuses, so a -2.
You got her pretty good.
You bean her in the head so hard that she just flies back and lands among garbage. And as this happens, you take another point of harm from your fist, as you can now see the acid is starting to make pock marks in your chitin-covered hand. And she looks rough. She looks like she's not getting up. And you can see a police car start to turn down the alley.
I am standing where I am, just kind of like one hand extended, pointing at her.
And the police
Flag
car...
The cops over.
What's that, Trent?
Yeah.
I said, I guess I'll flag the cops over since I'm leaving the alley.
Right, yeah. So you wave the cops down and they stop for a moment and he rolls his window down and says, "What's going on?"
And I'm like, the lady's over here.
And he just nods his head and starts driving down the alley. And he stops there with his partner in front of Atlas, and they both get out, guns drawn, and Atlas, you point over in the direction where she is, and they go and they start digging through the trash, which half of it is dissolved. You see they actually pull on these gloves just to try to protect their hands. And as they throw all the trash away, there's no body there. There's a divot where her body had been, but it is not there.
What? What?
I mean, she melted through the street and fell into the sewer or whatever.
I'm gonna
Atlas, as you
go
start
downstairs, leave, and head
as
to
you
the alley.
right, yeah, Darren, you start heading downstairs like a sane person. Yeah, Atlas, you see them digging through, and it looks like they've just completely lost track of her. So you step forward, and with a mighty heave, you just like throw these all these piles of trash to one side. And
Yeah.
sure enough, just like Trey joked about, but what is reality, is she has melted a hole into the ground, into the concrete, and covered it up with other bits of trash and cardboard. And it looks like it goes straight down into a sewer system where you see very small divots where her footfalls were, but no trace of her beyond that.
Atlas just kind of slams his fist into the building in front of him. No words, just anger.
And
And since the cops are there, I'm like, I guess we're gonna go to the station for more questioning.
the cop says, "Oh, you, all right, yeah." And they call another paddy wagon in to take Atlas as you and Darren are pulled into their car. And you head down to the station for yet more questioning. And go ahead.
Did Macy go to the police station? Like, are we just gonna run to her there?
Well, as I was going to say, as you
Sorry.
get there, you see that Macy is already there at the police station with the girl just kind of by her side, sitting there on a bench. And you are all pulled into the same room, which is somewhat unorthodox, but at this point, you see as Detective Holliday's tired visage steps into the room. He's kind of used to seeing you guys by this point. And he says, "Well, looks like, I guess we're gonna have to start actually getting to know each other for real, because it looks like we're going to be seeing each other quite a bit."
Yeah. I'm just like scratching the back of my head.
He looks over at Terry and says, "Terry, hi, how's it going?"
Hello,
I can't-
Detective Holiday.
Can't help but notice it's the same day.
No, yeah, I know. And you're gonna hear all about it whenever you question us again, so I won't repeat myself. I don't need to. We're gonna tell you everything.
Usual suspect.
So he gets he gets you all in the same room, and first he wants to hear the story from your guys' point of view. So he says, "All right, I don't care which one tells it. Maybe not the beetle, but so what happened?"
Atlas just lowers his head sadly.
Well, after we got done with the questioning earlier, Macy, who I assume, is she in the room with us?
Yeah, she's there too, as well as the other girl.
Macy ran into us, said, "Hey, you gonna come down to the karaoke? Everyone from class is gonna be there. We're gonna have fun." So we went out and we were just having a nice time. And then this crazy woman shows up, melting everything. I just did I did what I thought I had to do to make sure that nobody got hurt. And I assume everyone else did also. So I'm sorry we keep showing up here, Detective Holiday. But this is the only course of action that I can do to make sure that no one gets hurt. I'm not gonna let people get hurt.
Roll me your rapport. Trey? There you go.
It's a 2.
It is a 2.
Sorry,
No.
I had to get to it.
No problem. I was just like, did he hear me? So Detective Holliday, he sighs and he picks up his clipboard and he says, well, I've got some boys over there looking over the crime scene, but as best I can tell, there are no obvious signs that any lasers went off. There are skid marks, of course, courtesy of Macy, but from what it appears, those were just in self-defense getting away, so I can't fault you for that. And as far as the people at the station are concerned, those stairs were broken by the acid lady weakening them, so I guess I don't have to worry about that portion of the paperwork. You all aren't in any real trouble. Could you describe what this lady looked like? We already have a pretty good idea.
I feel like I'm going to give you the same description that you've already gotten.
Yeah,
She's
same here.
bald, and that's the only feature about her, really. She's bald and she looks like a regular woman. I'm sorry.
No eyebrows.
Yeah. Yeah,
Very
okay.
well.
That's, that tracks. That fits with the description we already have. So then, I guess all that's left is to figure out why she was after you. And he looks over at the girl who now appears to be growing new ears and a new eye, which are very slowly filling in the blanks on her face. And
I get a smile. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad about that.
I just looked surprised.
My head's just cocked to the side. It's like, oh.
and she explains and she says, man, I need to give her a good name. What's a good name?
I don't know, like a pun name or like an
What's
actual
her quirk?
name?
Her name is Nora.
Okay.
You'll figure it out. I'll tell you after I give her story spiel. Anyway, she says, my name is Nora. A truck went by. Those people, especially the acid lady, have been, I mean, I'm sure this comes as no surprise to you. They've been running rampant, causing crime and terror everywhere they go for weeks now, and I guess I just kind of figured I was specially handled to figure something out about it. Detective Holliday says, What do you mean specially handled? I thought I was specially equipped. She takes out her, she reaches towards her face and she pulls her other eye out, and it's not a grotesque scene at all. It kind of is, but it almost looks like just pulling out a glass eye. And she places it on the table and she puts her hand over her eye where the eye was, and the eyeball starts rolling around the table, and she says, I can take off my eyes and ears and I can kind of move them at my own will, and I can see through them and I can hear through them. And I thought if I could use it to track down where they are, I could call the police, I could give them a tip, tell them where they are, and I guess an eyeball rolling around was more conspicuous than I thought it would be, because they ended up seeing it and they ended up finding me. And I ran away, and I went into this building because I thought it was a public enough place that they wouldn't come after me in it. And then they did. And Detective Holliday starts he finishes writing this down on his notepad, and he says, "All right, never mind then. I guess I do have to do that portion of the paperwork."
Dang, we almost got away without using powers here.
And
She's not on our team, so our team got away without using powers. Yeah.
Detective Holliday says, "All right then. Nora, you stay here. We're going to call your parents. The rest of you, there's like a week before classes start. Don't show up again."
I'm not gonna promise anything,
Yeah.
but I'll try my best.
Yeah, I get it.
Same here. Sorry.
Let's just kind of turned his head to the side when you said that and started whistling.
He started doing what?
Whistling.
So, I guess maybe just go straight home this time. Do you think that's
You
feasible?
got it. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
All right.
we'll do.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and have somebody give you guys a ride.
That's real nice.
Yeah, I'm
Awesome.
hoping villains won't attack a cop car.
I mean, and if they do, then we shouldn't even get in trouble this time.
He tiredly chuckles. This, you got me. And you are Atlas again. You are given a ride separately from the others, but you are each given a ride back to, if not your home, at least the place where you are staying. And you part ways with Macy, who gets her own ride because she sits passenger with Atlas. Atlas is just taking up the whole back, and she's sitting passenger while Darren and Terry are taken in another car.
Okay.
And you are all taken back to the places where you will be laying your heads down. And the rest of the week goes by relatively uneventfully. You eventually get you each eventually get a call from Detective Holliday, and he tells you all in so many words, "Hey, this is Detective Holliday from the police department. Everything's squared away with Nora. You don't have to worry about her. She's back with her parents. Everything's fine. Stay out of trouble if you can, and if you can't, make it look like you didn't do anything wrong." And the call ends, and you each sit there absorbing the information, awaiting your first day of classes.